Guys, I decided to make a video today on how to install rotors and pads on a 2002 Z28. I bought this car new back in '02, and it has the original the calipers too, but the rotors and pads all the way around. It has 72,000 miles on it, and I had it the whole 16 years. So for a long time, they've done the whole wobble thing. When you hit the brakes, you're going fast, and the whole car just does this thing till you slow down. And I had it on the Nürburgring back in 2009 when I was in Germany. And the last, I don't know, I could say the last half mile of the track, I think, before you exit, it's just a quick straightaway. And I remember nailing this thing. And of course, then you got to hit the brakes and slow down to get off the track. And those brakes pulsated so bad, I didn't know if I was going to stop. And I told myself then, it's 2018 now, I told myself then in 2009, I was like, dude, I have got to get some brakes on this car. Here it is 9 years later, and I can give you a whole story about why I didn't, but I didn't. So anyway, original stuff is going to come off. I decided to go and splurge a little bit, and I got the Baer Sport rotors. These are the 55034020 part number. Got these from the WS6 store, the cheapest place I could find by probably 20 or 30 bucks. WS6 store. They were $212 shipped to me, and I've never had any Baer rotors before, but of course they got a good name to them. Ooh, drilled and slotted. I've never had any like this before, because there's the left and there's the right. So obviously the left is going to go on the left side, the driver's side, and then the right's going to go on the passenger side. And the pads I decided to go with are the Hawk Performance Street 50 pads. Part number, they come with that little package of goo in there, so you don't have to buy any. HB249B575. Very highly rated, both of these, actually. And, you know, I definitely wanted something better than stock. They got 72,000 miles out of the car, but my God, the last 40,000 miles they have pulsed like a mother. So anyway, first step is to jack up the car, as you might be able to see here. I've got her jacked up, and on these cars it's kind of a trick. But I've got jack stands up under. This is just normally where I put the jack stands on this car, unless I've got it over there on the side on the jacking points. And when I jack it up, I just go right up under the A-frame there on the front of the car. And once you get it up in the air, then next thing is to take the wheels off. And I love my DeWalt power tools. This is my 18 volt impact with the 20 volt adapter kit on it. I've got a video up on that if you're curious about it, but it has definitely saved all my 18 volt stuff from the boneyard, and tons of power. And so you're going to need a, what is this, 3/4 socket, I think. Yep, 3/4 socket to get these off. Boom, just like that. So I'll do all 10 on the front, and then get these wheels out of the way. And then here's the OG rotors, and then I don't know if you can see the pads in here or not. There you go. Not a whole lot left, is there? Just not much left. So definitely time. I probably pushed my luck on this quite a bit. So the next step is going to be taking off. There's this bolt here. I'll get the size in a second, and then there'll be one down here at the bottom. For those of you that might be new to this, you don't have to undo any of the brake lines or anything like that. Changing brakes and rotors, pads and rotors is a pretty simple affair, because as soon as you get the caliper out of the way, the rotor comes right off. At least these fronts usually do. I know for a fact my back rotors are self-welded into place, because I've tried to take them off before, because that's where your adjustment for the parking brake is. And I'll have to bang those off or get a little torch or something and heat those off one day. But these, as soon as we get the caliper out of the way, you should see they should fall right off. Alright, so this is a 12mm bolt head on here. And even though I love my big 1/2" DeWalt impact, there are some places where it just won't fit, especially with a socket on there. Nope, not enough room. And that's where I'll use my portal cable, 3/8 drive impact. And yeah, I know there's not a impact socket on there, but it's a Craftsman, so we'll see if it's got enough juice to whiz this thing off of here. Hopefully so. Okay. Let's find out. That looked like good news. Okay, so on this top bolt here I had a little trouble because this part here, I put the gloves on, it's about to get nasty. This part here, this sleeve that goes into the caliper, it was just spinning. It was just spinning when I was trying to back the bolt out, and there was some corrosion holding them two together. So I took a pair of pliers, hold this, and then put the impact on here again, spin it, and then I got both bolts out finally. So once you get all that out, now you can go ahead and remove your caliper. And on this one, see the brake pads are just kind of staying there. The caliper is going to come up out of the way. It's going to be a real easy job. So then with your caliper, you don't want to let it hang by the hose, of course. So I'm going to get some wire and just wire it up to the spring or something like that, just to hold it out of the way. All I did, I actually found my old bike lock cable, and I just ran it through the upper strut assembly here and just holding that caliper out of the way. I forgot these were dual pistons calipers. Pretty good stuff for the poor man's sports car back in 2002. I was going to be getting this bracket off here that holds the pads. And you got two big bolts that hold this on to the steering knuckle. I got the ratchet on one, and right down here is the other one. And these are 18mm heads. So I've got a 1/2-inch socket on behind, 1/2-inch ratchet on behind that. And they're pretty tight, but they're doable. I already got this one broke loose with just hand tools. So take these off, and then we'll get that out of the way. Okay, and off it comes, and with that out of the way, this rotor should come right off. I can feel that it's loose. However, if this is the first time that you've ever had the rotor off the car, on at least one lug, you're going to find a star keeper like this. And if you don't know what this is, or you didn't see it was there, or whatever, you can bang and pry and beat on this rotor all day long, and it's not going to come off with this keeper on that stud. And another tip on this car, I replaced the clutch slave cylinder and master cylinder about 1.5 years ago, and there was one of these where the master cylinder mounts to the firewall, and it's on the inside of the firewall, way up past the clutch pedal. Can barely see it. I had a buddy helping me out with this master cylinder, and we were banging and beating on that thing all day long. Finally, I go up under there and I look and I see this keeper, and I took it off, and that master cylinder just basically falls right off at that point, and he was so mad. But lesson learned. So if you've had the car, if you're a second-hand owner, or you've already had the brakes replaced, you won't probably see that, because I'm definitely not going to put it back on. The easiest way to do this is to get a flat tip screwdriver and then just bend these things up until it gets loose enough to where you can kind of rotate it. And then you can rotate it off the stud a few turns to where you get a gap like this. And if you're really bored, or you hate your life, you can just keep rotating it off the stud. Or you can take a pair of needle nose pliers and then basically just work it around till you break it. And then it'll just come off a lot faster. And that's it. You don't need it. Don't worry about it. It's something they do at the factory.